So does the thought create the molecule, or the molecule create the thought? Or are they simultaneous expressions of a deeper, transcendent reality that we are inseparable?
Ask him.
Can I just jump in here? All right. Okay, well, I think we should wander off the specifics of oxytocin. He's just described an experiment where you can actually answer that question. If I give you a shot of oxytocin and it changes your level of trust, then it's not just mere correlation. I mean, we've run it both ways. And
but
so that's
I
what he just
can
described.
increase trust, and it can generate
yes,
oxytocin
okay.
too.
But if trust is just the brain in one state, then you have the brain influencing its future states. You haven't gotten out of the brain and got an ectoplasm.
Trust is the subjective
experience
experience of consciousness. Oxytocin is the objective experience of consciousness.
Yes, but what you seem to be expressing is a deeper skepticism about whether the brain is even involved.
No, the brain is involved. No, your consciousness likes brains to express itself.
Okay, but do you believe, for instance, do you believe that we have souls, or that our mind is somehow independent of the brain, that it'll lift off the brain at death and go elsewhere? Is that
I believe there's a transcendent core consciousness that is comprised of meanings, context, relationships, archetypal ideas that recycles itself, just like everything else recycles itself.
So it's in no sense a product of the brain?
It's no sense a product of the brain, and our whole endeavor in spiritual discipline is to actually go beyond that personal consciousness, that ego consciousness, so we can identify with that transcendent reality, which is the source of space, time, energy, and everything else that exists.
Okay, well, let me just say a few things.
No, but I think the question is, are we encapsulated bags of skin dragging around a very little ego?
No,
or are we organism
really
environment symbiotic
you can
with
say no to
fields
that.
and consciousness of life?
Deepak, let me just, you put a lot on the table. So Deepak just said some very, seems a strange word to use, but some concrete things that science can criticize. Okay, you just said that consciousness and mind are...
I didn't say consciousness and mind. I said mind is a product of consciousness.
Okay, but this subjectivity is independent of the objectivity of the brain.
There is a subjectivity which is independent of objects. But there's a subjectivity which is subjectivity of itself. When you're looking at the brain for consciousness, you're not looking at consciousness. You're looking at synaptic firings. In fact, it is your consciousness that is looking at those synaptic firings.
All right. Let's just keep that in view. All right. Now, you've said there are two things that an incomplete science of consciousness and the mind should want to say about that. One is that having an experience of undivided consciousness does not tell you what consciousness really is or what its relationship to the brain really is. There's nothing about introspection that leads you to sense that your subjectivity is at all dependent or even related to voltage changes and chemical interactions going on inside your head. Okay, you can feel, you can drop acid, you can meditate for a year, you can do whatever you want to perturb your nervous system. You can feel yourself to be one with the universe, and at no point in that transformation do you get a glimpse that there's 100 trillion neurons in your head or synapses in your head that are doing anything.
It's called binding.
No. It's not. It's called absolute subjective ignorance of what's actually going on outside your consciousness.
You're
you're so Deepak.
You're so dismissive of subjective experience.
I'm not remotely dismissive
to
of
poetry, to music, to art. So dismissive of subjectivity. I'm saying that the whole universe is imbued with subjectivity.
There's nothing more important than subjectivity. It's all we could possibly care about. The fabric of our experience, the changes in our conscious experience, are all we care about. And they have some relation to the physical universe.
Absolutely.
Okay, now the question is...
We give rise to the physical universe.
Okay, that is a statement of metaphysics that is totally unjustified and cannot possibly be justified.
That's why it's a statement of metaphysics, not of physics.
No, metaphysical statements also have to be justified, as it turns out.
Metaphysics statements come from subjective experiences.
All right, you're starting to lose me a little bit. I've let it go. I've let it go, but let's rein it back in.